You're pitching, but basically what you have to do is make something happen, get something going early.
All right, so we're all set for the start of Game 4. When we come back right now, we'll check in for a report from Reykjavic, Iceland. Join Peter Jennings.
Well, Al, it could be a pretty exciting evening for you. It's been a very interesting day for all of us here in Reykjavic, the capital of Iceland, even though there has been a news blackout. After the first full day of the summit meeting between Mr. Reagan and Mr. Gorbachev, there are, dare we say, heavy hints in the air that they are making some headway, particularly on the subject of arms control. Mr. Reagan and Mr. Gorbachev had about 50 minutes with each other this morning, only their interpreters and their note-takers there, and then at this afternoon session, which lasted for about 2.5 hours, they were accompanied by their Secretary of State, in Mr. Reagan's case, and the Soviet Foreign Minister with Mr. Gorbachev. And then late today it was announced that the two delegations without the leaders would have some bilateral discussions, one on the subject of human rights and the other on the question of arms control. And it is this bilateral meeting between the Soviet and the American delegations tonight on arms control, which quite frankly has caught everybody's interest here. Standing by with us in Reykjavik is our foreign affairs correspondent, Barry Dunsmore. Barry, what does this bilateral meeting tonight suggest to you?
Well, Peter, the fact that they have bothered to publicly announce the fact that there are going to be some working groups taking place tonight suggests to me that Mr. Gorbachev and Mr. Reagan have actually come to some general understanding. Now the staff is working to put some flesh on those ideas. They didn't have to make this public, so I think we can reasonably assume that some kind of an agreement is at least at hand.
Barry, we appear to be talking about some kind of an agreement or framework for an agreement about intermediate-range nuclear missiles, right?
Yes, you can't really throw together a serious arms control agreement in a few hours. So at very best, what they will be able to do is to put together a roadmap which the negotiators in Geneva can follow. And whether that roadmap is actually going anywhere significant, we won't be able to tell until they show it to us.
Okay, Barry, we quite often get tips on what the Soviets are thinking from our Eastern European journalistic colleagues. What are you picking up from them?
Very interesting, Peter. As a matter of fact, one of the signals I was getting today is that at least some Eastern European countries are telling their people that Gorbachev is in trouble, that he really needs something here, and that he'll glob onto almost anything.
Okay, Barry, thanks very much for joining us. We will be here for the remainder of the evening in case there are any developments. We'll have a full wrap-up on an extended version of the weekend report, and then we'll be here all day Sunday for the second meeting, and perhaps even an appearance by Mr. Reagan and Mr. Gorbachev. Thanks very much for joining us. Back to the game in just a minute.
This ABC's Sports Exclusive is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet, by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Honda, all-terrain.